Hey, what's going on, everybody? Media 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I made a video just now talking about how I more or less agreed with Karl Anthony Towns' statement. I just wanted to kind of further dive into why I agreed and what I agreed with. Um, Karl Towns essentially got on the Aiden Ross's show and said that he felt that An- Russell Westbrook pads his stats, but that it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Getting triple doubles like he does, he's an extraordinary player, and he just feels like he kind of hurries, he rushes, or something of that nature. He moves too fast, something like that was what was said, and I ain't disagree with any of it. I ain't disagree with none of that. I've always thought that Russell Westbrook moved too fast, tends to not read and react as much as you'd like him to. He's more so on autopilot a lot of the time. And while that works in terms of him being aggressive and relentless, it doesn't help when it's time for him to slow down and make decisions. He tends to make poor ones. And while I do say that he pats his stats because he's looking to get triple doubles every night, it's also something that I think comes naturally to him in terms of the style of that he provides, the game itself. The way that he approaches the game is going to get him a lot of boards and get him a lot of assists, and it's not a whole lot to get a couple layups and a couple free throws. I think scoring is the more difficult of the two tasks. You got to understand, he rebounds the ball naturally. He thinks rebound. He's looking to pull the ball off the rim and push at all times. So it's nothing for him to get 10 boards. He has the athleticism, and the power and the timing, and he's all, like I said, on autopilot. So he's worked it into his muscle memory to do certain things as it pertains to rebounding the ball. Like, unlike most players, he not to mention that he's supremely athletic. So in developing that, it's always come naturally to him. It's not just about his athleticism too. It's about, again, the speed in which he thinks and plays the game. He's just quicker to the ball, than everybody, and so that's gonna get him his boards. And you got his assists. Obviously, he's a point guard. He grew up playing point guard. He understands, what he needs to do at the speed that he does, and particularly getting the ball to big men. As long as you have a center on the floor who can catch lobs, or a center who can catch the ball, he gonna make them look as good as possible. He proved that playing with Enes Kanter and Steven Adams and the various bigs that he's played with, Clint Capella, he made them all look good all the time, even in the midst of his struggles turning the ball over and things of that nature. So assists come to him very easily, in spite of him having issues. Plus, he has the ball in his hands, issues turning the ball over. Plus, he has the ball in his hands so much to where he is the guy that's often getting the ball to others. As to which, in OKC, they made it so that he was able to kind of have his players in different positions and play, the same way for a long time, even though they had different players. It was generally just two coaches so long as he was there. So it was a lot of stability and a lot of stuff that would allow him to fall into comfort in terms of like being on autopilot, as I call it. A lot of the stuff that I understand this and recognize this because I'm kind of that way too, a systematic person to where things become habit so we don't have to think. You know what I mean? I know where my keys are at all times. I always do this, I always do that. It's no thinking involved in what I do because it's such a routine. And I think Russell Westbrook had that stability in OKC for so long it's hard for him to turn off some of that stuff. He still thinks players are going to be standing in certain places. He still thinks certain plays are going to be run a certain way, like they did in OKC for 8-9 years. And that's just it's hard to turn that off when you're the centerpiece of an NBA offense for many years. Going to Houston, it was a heck of an adjustment. Washington kind of played more so along his style, and there was no pressure there for him to play well. And they had an entire season with young players and no expectations, as to which they kind of catered the way they played around him. So it was the best fit for him, after all, and that was the best place, and he probably should have stayed there. And he didn't ask to leave there, but to go to the Lakers. So, it's one of those situations which is unfortunate because that really was a better fit for him. But all in all, looking at Russell Westbrook now, it's like everything that Karl said about him was true in regards to that. I mean, clearly he's going after his triple doubles. He's going to play the way that he does, and he's going to get those easy buckets that's going to allow him to get those double digit scoring abilities. He's going to get the ball in the hoop enough. So that's a triple double right there every night. He's going to get that. So while do I think he's looking to get that every night? Yes. Do I think it's hard for him to accomplish that? No, not him. No, not him. Other guys, most people, yeah, you got to be trying to do that. But him, nah, he already has it worked into his equation of how he's going to get those rebounds and assists. All he has to do is figure out the points. So when you understand that, when you know that, I remember Shaq said something. Shaq said something that made a lot of sense to me. He was like, if all he really wants his centers to do is just get something. It was some amount. It was like 10 points and 10 boards. And he said, your 10 points is going to be easy. All you got to do is get 3 layups and hit 2 free throws. That's it. You get your layup in the first quarter. And when he broke it down, I was like, wow, like that really makes sense. Even though it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, if you have if you have the ability to do it, it really is as simple as let me just get 2 layups here and then get 2 layups there. If I get a 3 there, and you can get your numbers. A lot of these guys have that stuff working into the equation to begin with, so they know what they need in order to get their stats. I think Bron is like that, and I think Russell Westbrook is like that too. And if they're consistent in how they approach the game, they're gonna get their stats. It's easy for them to do that, So, yeah, Carl's right, and I think it's also a part of who he is. Now, the other aspect of what Carl said made sense to me too. He says that Russell Westbrook moves too fast. He tries to hurry, or however he worded that. It comes down to that understanding that Russell Westbrook needs to slow down, and it's true. Russell Westbrook wants to win a championship, but he needs to understand that the only way he's going to do that is if he starts to make better decisions. It doesn't matter if he's on a good team or if he's on a bad team. If he's turning the ball over 5 times a game in a fashion that steals momentum from his team, he's always going to struggle and he's not going to win. So that's my challenge. That was my challenge, in this camera. Of course, he never seen my video, but like that was what I was saying. Like I challenge him to take a look at some of the things that he does wrong and see them as as a means of fixing those to get him what it is that he doesn't have. It's the championship. Never mind what everybody talking about. Never mind people's opinions, because that's not the part that matters. The part that matters is him playing better so he can be happy with his career. And at this stage in the game, 14 years in, you want to win. You want to win a championship, and the thing that's keeping him from winning the championship is those turnovers and his defense. And so my thing was, you're 14 years in means people who can help you. You can find specialists that can help you shoot. You can find specialists that can help you defend. You can find specialists with your nutrition. You can find specialists for your mind. You can find specialists for anything when you have got 100 M's up. You understand what I'm saying? When you're 100 M's up, you can find anything you need. So I would challenge him to help himself by finding people who can help him do whatever he needs to do to overcome those weaknesses. You know what I mean? Those weaknesses on the court. Because those are things that I think could be worked out. Slowing down, some type of breathing techniques or meditation practices or reading or something. There's something he could do that could help him slow down his process. And in terms of like other things, defense, get around the best defensive players ever, get the best defensive coaches ever, and put the work in, just like you would do with anything else. Learn defensive principles in ways that maybe you weren't taught them. Don't worry about what it is that you don't know and using it as a means of saying, I don't need to do it, because you're going to keep getting the same results if you don't do things differently. But when you give yourself an opportunity to have the right stuff in place, you can improve, but you got to be willing to do that, and you got to see that as a means of getting what it is you want. When you can't do that, then you're going to always get the same results. People are going to look at you the same way, and you're going to be who it is that you were, and that's it. And I just don't think Russell Westbrook, with the type of work ethics that he's shown, what he believes in terms of hard work, why not work hard at learning how to play smart? You feel me? Let's look at it that way. You gonna work hard at doing things the right way. Work hard at overcoming those weaknesses. Work hard at changing the narrative about who you are and what it is your game is about. Because a lot of the stuff that he does, I think, is fixable. A lot of the stuff he's doing wrong, I think, is stuff that he can find people to help him through and do better. And look, if you're 14, there's still more time left. he still wants to play 2, 3 more years. So I see the fruit in doing the work. You feel me? I really do see the fruit in trying to be better. Especially if your body hasn't failed you. And him, yeah, he bricked the dunk, but he's still just as fast. And there are a million players in this league that are not going to be explosive, but will still not, not have any issues being effective. And I think as he learns how to do that, I think he'll prolong his career. I think his speed and natural athleticism will allow him to keep up with youngsters in ways that most 33, 34-year-olds won't be able to going forward. He and Braun have something special, and I think that's why Braun wants to play with him, because he looks at him as one of the old guys who's going to be able to still run with those kids. And I don't think he's wrong. I think going forward over the next 3 years, I think Russell Westbrook will be able to keep up with any speed. He may not be able to jump as high, but he's always going to be attacking the rim. He's always going to be rushing around. And the faster the pace, the faster the pace, I think probably the better he plays, because the slow it down thing, not for Russell. He needs the pace to be snappy. So, I look at it like that. If the Lakers are stuck with his contract, then we need to figure out what's going to help him win. That's just like we would with Bron. We got to shave off one of them contracts, and we got to work with the other two, or work with one of them. And if Russell Westbrook's the one we are stuck with, then we need to build around him. To keep it all the way honest, you need to go get Russell Westbrook the stuff that he needs that'll give him the best possible chance at a championship. And I know that sounds absolutely insane, but it's what you have to do. You're stuck. Like, you're literally stuck with this contract if you can't trade it. You know what I mean? So you get the pleasure of trying to figure out how to build around Russell Westbrook. And that sounds absolutely and utterly insane to me. I ain't gonna lie. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. And of course, LeBron James' contract is there. And Anthony Davis' contract is there. One of those got to go. So that's the Lakers situation. But just to get back on topic, man, I think people need to chill on Karl Towns. Let him pass on what it is he's saying, because I didn't disagree with it. He wasn't lying. And I hate to be the guy to say this, but I don't think the people who came to his defense, Russell Westbrook's defense, disagreed with it either. Because you didn't see them dispute anything he said. They just attacked the man for talking. That's all he did. It wasn't no lie told, man. And it's on Russell Westbrook to make the improvements in order for that narrative to change. Everybody wants to root for Russ. He just dropped some shoes yesterday. They fire. I'd love to have those shoes. There's nothing about Russell Westbrook that makes you say you don't want to root for him. But you're not doing him any favors by telling him he's playing well right now. I saw him say in the camera, I think I'm doing fine. Not doing you no favors by telling you that. No, sir. You are not doing fine. If you perceive yourself doing fine, you're going to lose and be disappointed and shocked. And ain't nobody else going to be shocked. That's how real that is. You know what I mean? It's one of them situations where, like, it's time to do things differently so that you can get better results. It's not the time to tell yourself you're doing fine when the house is burning down. That shit is crazy. Excuse my language, but that's exactly the thought. That is crazy. We can't do that. We gotta figure out a way to make this work, not pretend it's not broken, So that's what I think, man. That's what I think. I think the Lakers are going to have to try to find a way to trade that contract at all costs, but I don't think they're going to be able to. So I think they need to trade the ones that they can trade, whoever that is, and build a good cohesive team around the contract you must keep, period. Whatever that means. And most importantly, whoever that contract is cannot dictate terms on where the roster goes from here, man. We can't do that. If the person that we're keeping is LeBron James, he can't be the guy telling us what to do with this damn roster, because he only going to be here for a couple more minutes, and we got a whole franchise to run for many years to come. So we can't do short-term stuff for his timeline. Can't do it. And won't need to, because there's a bunch of young kids out there who are going to hoist the trophy over the next several years. This is not going to be old man's league. So thinking old guys are going to hoist the trophy, nah, homie, no, they're not. They're not. You're going to see young guys hoisting the trophy over the next several years. You mark my words. It's going to be one of these players that just came into the league over the last 3 years. It's going to be hoisting the trophy 3 years from now. One of them, watch. Probably Mobley. So I'm just saying, y'all need to, think that way. Think that way, man. This whole let's go into the past, 2010, 2012, grab the stars from then. That is just not it. We have proven that to everybody. So that's what it is, man. Let Carl steer you in the right direction. Russell Westbrook is a great player for statistics, and he will always help himself to those. And that's his functionality, and that's just what it is. Until he makes the changes to be a winner, he's not one. And it is not deeper than that. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.